I'm Andy Ball, Director for Daviess County Emergency Management. We're out here on Brook Street on the west side of Daviess County in the Sorgho area with our newest siren that we just put up, one of 2 this year. Actually one of 4 in the past 15 months. So this is a brand new location and wasn't replacing one of the existing sirens. We looked at the maps, looked at the county coverage. This is one of the places looking at our criteria for a number of actual address points that it affects and the type of businesses, churches, schools, such in the area. And that's the reason we chose this site as one of our siren locations. Here in Daviess County, Kentucky, we have 55 sirens total. That includes the newest sirens that we just installed during the last 15 months. 29 of those are county sirens, and then there are 25 city sirens. There's also 1 private siren years ago that somebody elected to purchase and get installed with our system. The reason we don't have 100% coverage throughout the county, some calls we get throughout the year is why don't we have a siren in our area, is really the criteria that we base that on, along with the expense of the sirens, of course. Because there's so much rural area in Daviess County, we only have roughly 81% coverage. We are working on that as new development occurs, and the county did agree to allow me to do 2 sirens a year for a few years, and that's what we've been doing now. So we'll select sites like this one behind me here at Brook Street, based again on the types of address points that are here, whether it be like a campground, a trailer park, a lot of small businesses in the area, maybe a large factory, schools, fairgrounds, things like that. So that's why we don't have 100% coverage, and I don't expect that we'll ever have 100% coverage. These sirens typically run about $25,000 to $30,000, and just like with anything, due to inflation, that cost will continue to rise. We have replaced 8 older mechanical sirens. You've seen the old antiquated sirens from back in the civil defense era. Some of those were even installed in the 1970s. I've been here for about 7 years, a little over, and since I've been here, we have replaced all of those older sirens with newer sirens. All the sirens do have about an average of 1 mile radius in all directions. Now that will depend on the terrain, of course, whether it's hilly or flat like we're here. So I would expect, like here, you could probably hear it as far as 1.5 miles, maybe even up to 2 miles, because it's just so flat. It'll also depend on the weather that day, if it's really windy, if there's a lot of background noise and such. I'd like to point out for everybody, these are outdoor warning sirens, and that may be confusing what that means. That means that these sirens are here to warn people that are during outdoor activities. They're not designed to be able to warn you if you're inside doing tasks, listening to TV, radio, whatnot. They're designed for people that are outdoors, so that it gives them time to get to adequate shelter. So I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that. And on that note, every household, just like we always recommend, should have another means of severe weather warning. The biggest one and the most helpful one we have found nationwide is the All Hazards NOAA weather radio. And I recommend you put that in your master bedroom where you'll be sleeping, because as we saw with the December tornadoes in Kentucky, nighttime tornadoes can cause a lot more fatalities than daytime tornadoes. And you just don't have the warning. You can't see the tornado coming. So have something that can wake you up, and don't rely solely on these outdoor sirens. We've had some questions on why aren't you placing more in the west versus the east. We put one in Pleasant Ridge area off of 140 up on top of a hill there. Lonesome Pine in Mosleyville, so west side there. Intersection of Roy Clark Road and Highway 144. That's one of our new ones that we did along with this one this year. And then of course Brook Street behind me. We do test the sirens, most of you are aware, every Friday at noon. And that's to make sure that the sirens are working and then we know what the problems are. As with anything right now with shipping, some of the sirens, we have a couple of sirens that we've been having difficulties with. Sometimes they're working, sometimes they're not. I've got technicians that are working on it, but the parts are what's taking so long on those. So please be patient with that. One in particular I can think of is out in the Pleasant Valley area. So we have been dealing with that one for quite some time, awaiting parts. But we do test them every Friday unless 911 director and I feel that severe weather potential for that day may cause confusion. Or if we have extreme cold temperatures, we don't want the motors to ice over, and then when they try to turn, it burns up the motor. So if you don't hear a siren during events like that, that's probably why. One thing I would like to mention is our newest sirens, our last 8. We decided to go with solar capability. That way, if the power is out, they're able to, and our controller is on generator back at either emergency management or 911 dispatch, then those sirens we're able to get alerts out to, even during power outages. Eventually, we intend to replace all the sirens that are on commercial power with the solar power, at least as a backup. And what happens, when the power goes out, the boxes that you see on the pole there contain batteries. And the batteries hold the power through the solar panel. So not a real expensive option. So we think that in the long run it will save the taxpayers several thousands of dollars. And then lastly, I would like to thank Kenergy specifically. The pole that they put behind us, along with 5 others during the past few years, they have donated along with the installation of those poles. So typically those poles will run $1,000 to $1,500, including the installation. So Kenergy has definitely stepped up, and like most of the time, anytime I ask for their assistance, they're almost always really willing to jump in and help. So thank you, Kenergy. If you have any questions, or if you do have siren issues, you're close to one, it didn't work on a normal day, you can call our office, 270-685-8448, and my staff are trained to take down the information and then pass it along to the technicians, and we'll have somebody look at it. So appreciate your time, and God bless.